Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
And welcome back, everyone, to Business Between the Lines.
We are back with our Between the Seasons mini-series where we recap some amazing moments and mic drop moments from season 1 of the show as we gear up and get ready for season 2 of Business Between the Lines coming in early November.
So today we're going to share with you Matt Morse from the Sweat Shak. He was episode 17, and he drops a couple mic drop moments in there, some very teachable moments about, again, we've had some other episodes about thinking outside the box, but he really took it to a whole nother level, and he shares some secret sauce with us.
He did. So he has a journey of wanting to do something that is unlike what most people do. And the way that he figured out the way to do that was really, really cool. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this episode with Matt Morse.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy. Hey, Matt.
Hey.
So, guys, today we have Matt Morse with the Sweat Shak coming with us with a sweet swag to talk about your life and the pro tips that you have, things that you've done to grow the Sweat Shak to a pretty significant size, pretty significant membership over a pretty small amount of time.
Sure.
And the amount of member loyalty that you have, and the staff loyalty that you have.
Right.
Everybody wants to have good customers, and especially now, everybody wants to have really good employees. So, what's your secret sauce?
So I think the secret sauce is just, to be humble and to be teachable and coachable. I say that because, I'm actually not the pro. I'm actually, the person that gets mentored the most, right? And
Okay.
I mean that genuinely.
Okay.
And owns it. I
Well,
love
and
that.
so my wife, Ashley and Eric Stoltz, Ashley Stoltz, and my wife, they actually own the business. I just basically help operate it. I'm the lead volunteer, as I say. So ultimately, I think the biggest part of being a business owner, right, is being coachable, being teachable.
Oh, that's so
As
huge.
soon as you think you know everything,
in
that's when
trouble.
the sledgehammer comes over your head, and that humble pie. That humble pie has never been so sweet. That's what happens. So I honestly think that one of the biggest things about just in any business, right, in any town, in any community, right, is just going this, I always call it the ignorant tax.
Okay.
Right? Think about it this
tax.
way. Either you know or you don't know. And if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thing. So I say this because, whenever you went into your industry, right, you tapped into other friends and other people.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, hey, man, I'm really, really inspired by what you do. I would love to be able to be on your level, 50 years from now. What are some of the biggest things that maybe you had problems with? Because if you don't ask that question, you're going to pay the ignorant tax. You may as well ask that question to somebody who's crossed that bridge already, who's already had those
Learn
problems.
from somebody else's mistakes.
Or pay the ignorant tax and be ready and willing because it's coming, right?
Yeah.
It is going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I say this because in a prior business, my ignorant tax was $65,000
Yeah.
out of my cash money, out of my own bank account. And I was like,
Hard lesson learned.
okay, I still can't breathe. And then, and at that point, that was that humble pie I talked about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it is find somebody that's already paid the ignorant tax.
And don't
Or-
be afraid to ask those questions.
Or,
Yeah.
and then they, I can tell you right now, if somebody were to call me or DM me, right, and say, hey, Matt, I'm about to do this. Do you think that'd help them?
Yes.
I would.
100%.
Right.
Why? 'Cause
Number of times I've sat on the phone with
Somebody
you
helped you.
for
Somebody
an
has helped
hour
me.
asking questions, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh well, this is that one thing I did wrong. This is one thing I did
Yeah.
wrong."
That's
You
my
taught me
favorite
so
thing.
much.
Pay
Yeah.
it forward. You
Yeah.
learn from somebody else. It's time to pay that tax forward.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that the last conversation you're going to have was talk about lead generation.
Yeah.
And there's amazing softwares out there,
Right.
right? And some people don't know about it.
Yeah.
So what do? They go on Instagram, follow somebody, they unfollow them, and then hope and pray that they follow them back and it sticks.
Yeah.
That's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But had I not known that, had I not paid that ignorant tax or asked somebody that had already paid that ignorant tax, then I would never know.
Yeah.
So now I know. That's just
huge.
me.
That's huge. So then, how do people know how to find those people? How do you find a good mentor?
Yeah,
Does it
'cause
have to be
Yeah.
somebody in your industry? Does it
Yeah,
have
we've
to,
had this in a previous
Yeah.
show, and we said exercise caution because there's a lot of people that put it out there and they
Yeah.
say, I need help with this. And then everybody jumps on the advice bandwagon. They want to
Sure.
give their 2 cents and stuff. And it's like, some of that stuff you're being fed isn't always what you should
Sure.
be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. It's like, hey, how do you vet
Right.
the information,
That
right?
you're
And so,
getting.
like for me personally, I looked at, okay, hey, I have a boutique fitness facility, the Sweat Shak, right? Panama City didn't really have any of those.
Right.
Didn't. So I kind of went into this blindly, not really knowing kind of what we were doing, right? And
Right.
so what I did was I went and went to St. Augustine. I went to,
Search outside.
Pensacola.
Yeah.
And I found those boutique fitness facilities. I'm like, man, it'd be awesome to have a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, kind of like a little Stromboli option, right?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
what I want. And so I picked all the best options from all different things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to find out who the owner of that business is or whoever does their marketing. Or like, let's just, as an example, there's a local brewery that does phenomenal on marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, if I can kind of go into who I think that is, but regardless, there is one. If it were me personally, and I said, you know what, I need help in marketing.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same industry like you referred to earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Me personally, it's like, hey, that person's really good. They got really good social proof. Who does their marketing?
Right.
Maybe I can learn from them. Maybe
Yeah.
I can see like what hurdles did you face when you were trying to
So,
figure out what kind of things
I
to do.
did that when we did the A team.
Yeah.
I did a seminar and I was teaching about business startup things,
Yeah.
things that you need, the fundamentals, the stuff that nobody ever tells you about. It's like they say business plan, all the basics that
Yeah.
people throw out there. And I'm like, no, okay, here's what you really need to know. And here's what you need to prepare for and stuff.
Sure.
And part of that was I told everybody, I was like, you need to be a part of your community. You need to join some groups and stuff
Yep.
so that you have support. And I listed out the top 3 types of groups that you need to be a part of. And I said, you really can't be a part of more than that or you're
Yeah.
spread too thin. You're starting a business. And when I did that, this guy came up to me after my seminar and he's like, okay, I get that and I want all 3 of those. But if I was to start with one right now, what would be that one that would give me a well-rounded? And we didn't
Absolutely.
have one. And I did the same thing like you did with your shop. I looked at all the groups I was a part of and I said, I really like this. I really like this. I really like this. And put it together and built the A team
Yep.
out of those juice pieces.
And that's what you do,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same thing I tell everybody. If you're in business, are you in business to have the highest, costly job?
Right,
Or are you in business to make money?
right.
Like ultimately, because you can own your own business, but be shackled to it because you have to work in it.
Right.
So like for us, what we've always looked at is like, hey, if we want to make X% profit margin, cool. What are my expenses?
Right.
That then dictates my price, right? And so there are certain things at our facility where they're extremely low margin because it's part of our acquisition cost
Right.
versus our nurturing cost of,
Yeah.
hey, they're already here. Let's maintain them.
And that makes sense.
Most
That's
gyms-
everywhere
yeah.
in life in general. It's like when a new computer comes out or a new phone, you're going to pay through the nose for that at
Yep.
the beginning. Understanding that concept
Yeah.
is brilliant.
Yeah, for
And
us,
like-
our big thing is our clients and their results are our number one focus. And
Right.
you know this,
Yeah.
our biggest thing is like if I can get more clients than anybody else to get the result that they desire
Right.
faster, I win.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything else fixes itself,
Right.
right?
Nice.
So that's legitimately our whole premise is how quickly can I get them to the result they want and let them live their life in a healthier way.
Right. Sweet.
That's awesome. So somebody hearing that, I want to give you an opportunity. What's the website, the social, if somebody wants to learn something about Sweat Shak and what you're doing, where do they need to
Well, so
go for that?
we're just at thesweatshak.com, but there's no C, so it's SHAK.
Okay.
A little different, kind of like the shirt is, but needless to say, it's just thesweatshak.com.
Cool.
If they need to get me directly, they can actually text message our phone number.
Oh.
Yeah. So like they just go to Google, type in Sweat Shak, our phone number's right there. They can
Someone
literally
text it.
text us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't want a phone call. They're like, hey,
Oh, no, I
there's this weird
love
bald guy on the
text.
other
Oh,
line. No. But they're like, hey, I can text this weird bald guy. Yeah. Then we can rock and roll. So,
Oh, man.
yeah.
No.
That's kind of how it works.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, you totally need to make a T-shirt that says
Just text the
"Come
bald guy.
sweat with the weird bald guy."
Yeah. But it would be actually with our amazing coaches because,
Right.
like, honestly, we've had such great luck hiring local people that are just amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Megan and I, we don't coach as much as we used to.
Right.
Honestly, we're now mentoring our coaches.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
that's
Like
the
we're
way it
bringing
should
our
be.
we're bringing
That's
our
the way it should
coaches
be.
up to a level that is just insane.
Yeah.
And so, like right now, we're looking at actually expanding and potentially bringing on some new coaches
Right.
because we're going to have more room soon.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
it's
exciting.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
and that's like a serious another key moment is when you're thinking about stuff like this. Nobody
Yeah.
goes into business thinking I'm going to be the person doing this for the rest of this business life. No, it's
Right.
being open to teaching your knowledge and sharing your knowledge and your value with those that are under you and bringing them up. And like
For sure.
people
Yeah.
are so afraid to share knowledge. It kills me.
Uh,
I'm like,
It's the word. I could talk about that. We'll talk about
Community?
that during the wrap.
Right,
Oh my
during the
gosh.
The key on that is community over competition.
Oh,
It is.
boom, mic drop
Oh, yeah.
moment. Yep.
Oh man.
Put a
That's good
hashtag
stuff.
on
Big in the tail. There's the period. There's the mic drop moment.
And on that note, don't turn that dial. Come back to us. We will be right back, Jason and I, wrapping up this session.
Guys, we just had Matt Morse on here, and he touched on a lot of different topics, from creating a loyal membership-based business to making sure that people know that they matter, to having loyal employees who love what they do, to a plethora of other things. So we only got 10 minutes, so we want to go into it. A subject that I really like that he has is the people that he gets to do business with, all of his clients, all of his customers. His gym is not like a Gold's Gym for only bodybuilders. It's just like it's a normal, unique gym for just like everybody.
And that was part of his business model. Because,
That was how he started it.
Yeah, he point blank said, you have to get advice from other people. You have to reach out to other people that have done it and are making it happen. And when he did reach out and look around Bay County and stuff, there really wasn't one in the kind of design that he was really looking for. So he went outside of the area and started getting those little unique, hey, I like that about that one. I like that about that one, and designed it
Made
around
his own.
that.
He said it was like a
Right.
stromboli of,
Right.
of different things from different gyms. And now what he has built is a really unique, gym experience where I think, and we were talking about this off air a little bit, but it's almost like Matt's created an experience for people where the goal is for them to love to be there every
Right.
single week or however many times they go a week. And that's what it is.
And not just from that first initial passion of I'm starting something new, I'm creating a new goal, a new habit or something. And the first couple days you're like, yes, I can do this. And then the pain hits and then you're like, oh, I don't really love this so much. And so he's created a atmosphere and a way that people work out that makes them keep wanting to come back and keep getting themselves healthy and fit, because that is his passion. That's his ultimate goal. When he was designing this, it wasn't, I want to make X amount of dollars. It was, I want to help out so many people and I want them to love this and be healthy. And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and if you look at like all of his photos and videos and stuff that are on Facebook, it's clear that everybody that's there like actually really enjoys being there. So I think it's just a beautiful thing that like if you love doing it, if you love working out at his gym, then you're gonna actually do it right. Which kind of goes into what we had, a theme that we have all the time, which is like if you love what you do, you never work a day in
Then
your
you're
life,
not,
and
right.
you're gonna actually pursue it.
Yeah. And the people that are in there, because from experience and from him, and also from me when I was talking to him and stuff, it's not one of those, if you look on his page and see the pictures, he didn't say, okay, now everybody smile and make sure you like this. No, it was actually genuine. People actually are, and you have to go and experience that. But I love the mic drop moments that he threw out there, and I love his philosophy about owners have to be teachable. You don't know it all just because you own it. And he went out and he searched and looked for information and looked for knowledge and looked for how are you doing this, and don't be afraid to ask people those questions. You don't look, if somebody thinks you look dumb for asking how do you do this, then that's the wrong people. Move those people out of your life. You need to surround
because he also
yourself.
talked about vetting people
Yes.
and making sure that everybody shouldn't be your mentor. Everybody that gives you advice on Facebook, going back to like Larry Perry's first episode, doesn't need to be somebody that you really listen to and you try to glean information from. But he's made sure to reach out to people who are kind of where he wants to be or have just a piece of what he wants to be. Like, I was impressed. Like, he went around to different, boutique gyms all around Florida and like surrounding states to find the little nuggets about how each of them are operating. And like, really that's who his mentors are.
Yeah. And to be humble.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that paying the ignorant tax, I just about fell out when he said that. That is I'm going to have a t-shirt made with that, because that was perfect, because a lot of us, we're not willing to pay that. And if you're not, then you will.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later, you will end up paying it because you didn't do it the right way. You didn't reach out. You weren't humble about it. You didn't, find the right people to give you advice and stuff, and be open enough to acknowledge, like he did, I don't know everything. And that was.
And I know, just because I know Matt so well, that one of his primary goals in life is to everybody that he interacts with, he wants to try to learn from them and try to teach them anything that he can. Learn from them as much as possible, and if he has some value to share with them, share the value. I cannot talk to this man on the phone for more than 5 minutes without him giving me some information about something that he's learned, some little nugget about lead generation and how to get clients and how to build a gym, even though I don't build a gym. Like, I'm not in his industry at all, but I learned so much from him every time that I talk to him.
Yeah, totally. Matt is good people. You can tell that, because even when we wrapped up the first segment and he was getting ready to leave, he was still offering stuff, and he was still saying, hey, I'm serious. Reach out to me if you need any help and stuff. Yeah. And people like that, that's who you need in your circle. That's who you need to be asking these advice questions from. And this is, and it doesn't have to be in the same industry. And we kind of briefly touched on that. Some people think, okay, if I'm going to build this or I want to change that, I need to only ask the people that are in that sphere. And no, you can get very unique answers and ways of doing things that you can incorporate to your industry, your business, based off of what other people are doing. It might not be the perfect fit, but you can glean nuggets from that and learn from it. So don't be afraid to reach outside of, again, your area, but also your industry and stuff to get those. But we were talking about a little bit on this with creating that loyalty. We mentioned it at the beginning, client loyalty, customer base, kind of loyalty, and your staff. And we've had other people on the show about that. And I just honestly, from everyone I've listened to and just my experiences in business, the very key thing is showing people that they matter. And that's what he's doing by not saying, okay, you got to be a bodybuilder to come in here, kind of a thing. He reached outside of that and said, where's the need? And the need was, most people that want to get fit and stuff are not. And he wanted to cater to that and make them feel special and make them understand that they matter too. And you don't have to fit into that perfect box of what you think it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, it's not something that he even really touched on, but just because whenever I was talking to Christy about having Matt on the show and kind of giving her some information, like, hey, this is kind of who Matt is. One of the key characteristics that I attribute to him that he didn't even mention when he was on with us is that he just makes the people in his life around him, he makes them feel like they matter.
To make them feel important.
Makes them feel important.
Anyone that takes that nugget away and applies that in their personal life and their business life will see dramatic changes in the way that people interact with you and stuff. It's the same with when we've had communication. People in here and we've had them talk to us about how to communicate. And we've had a wealth of amazing people come in here and share their tips and stuff. But it all came down to listening to what they were actually saying, to hear the actual question. And that all comes back full circle to making sure that people understand that they matter. And in order to do that, you have to listen to them. You have to see people. You have to hear people. And He's doing it. He's making
Yeah.
it happen.
I mean, whenever you talk with Matt, he doesn't come across as somebody, if you're talking with him about joining the gym, he doesn't come across as somebody who's just really trying to sell you that 12-month, $5,000 a month, sort of subscription thing. You walk away from the conversation and you're like, wow, he's really knowledgeable and he really wants me to hit my goal for my health and for my life and to be the kind of person that I want to be. So
Showing people they matter. Total mic drop moment, total key to this whole thing, as well as the whole ignorant tax thing. You don't want to pay it, so ask.
You know who else really matters? Our sponsors.
So that's a cue in for me. No, we do really want to thank our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. Vortex Spring, Highland Finance, Aero Pest Service. Look them up. They are amazing companies, not just because they sponsor an amazing show. It is because they truly are amazing companies and ran by amazing people. So check them out, see what they do, go visit them.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
And welcome back, everyone, to Business Between the Lines. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Again, I've watched his episode many times, so this recap was also a great refresher. But Matt Morse with the Sweat Shak from episode 17, and like I said at the very beginning, he shared his secret sauce, and he basically laid it out there. It's to be humble, teachable, and coachable. He point blank says he's not the pro. And he's the person that gets mentored the most, and having that kind of attitude and that personality is really what's helped him thrive.
Yeah. Every time I speak with the guy, he comes out with some sort of a tip or a value or a something that improves my life and makes me better. And I think the same thing happens with all of you now, having just watched that episode again. So be sure to come back next week, 5:30, every single Thursday. We've got Business Between the Lines. Next week, we have Pam Turley. She's got a lot of experience working both in corporate America and in a small family-owned business, and has seen success on both sides of it. Guys, as we continue with this Between the Seasons mini-series, we're gearing up for season 2 coming in early November, where we're going to have some incredible sponsorship opportunities. So if you'd like to be a sponsor of our show, be sure to reach out to our Facebook page, Business Between the Lines. We can hook you up.